We got the intro. Holy shit. Okay, so this intro is probably the most visually appealing. It's anime as fuck. It's dark as hell. It's got a lot of symbolism, a lot of implications, a lot of stuff can be happening. A lot of stuff that we can get from this, right? The first scene here, everything's fine and dandy, and now everything's on fire and everything burns and everything hurts. So this is the first image that we actually saw. This was actually a GIF that was first posted on Twitter. So this is technically like the first thing that we saw of the intro. I wasn't sure that it was the intro because all the characters are on it and they're in their like 3D models. It just looked different. I honestly felt like this was made specifically for the Twitter post, not necessarily it was in the intro. I really liked these. This was such a cool, this is probably my favorite shot of the opening, honestly. Not only it just looks gorgeous, right? Like the little, kind of look like little fireflies. But yeah, like every character has a bit of their past incorporated with their present self. RWBY overlooking the cliff of her mother's grave. So that can kind of be like volume 1, which is how the red trailer started out, with her looking over her mother's grave. But with the sunset, it's more like volume 3, which is how volume 3 started, right? With her talking to her mom before she went to the Vital Festival tournament. You got Weiss in the volume 5 character short. I think the hashtag is RWBY before after. These are super cool. You know, Weiss is from the volume 5 character short of her training with the help of her sister to eventually leave the isolation of her father, of her family name, and to become a huntress. Blake, of course, leaving the White Fang behind, leaving Adam and the organization and wanting to become more noble and try to do the right thing and change the world as a huntress. And then Yang kind of leaving behind her carefree life on Patch with her dad and her dog. I think that one is the Yang character short as she's like training with RWBY before she heads out to Beacon. Another nice touch that I liked on this moment was the first lyrics is, "We said goodbye to all the things we love." And I feel like that's an interesting parallel to "It's time to say goodbye." The chorus for that song is, "Now it's time to say goodbye to the things we loved and the innocence of youth." So I feel like this is like an homage to "Time to Say Goodbye." At least that opening line was. And again, it's a past and present juxtaposition of the characters, how they were in the past and how they are now. And they're so different, you know what I mean? They're so different from their volume 1, volume 2, their Beacon days, you know? So I really liked that parallel as well. Another thing too, and I want to give a quick shout out to somebody in the community. You guys probably know if you guys are on Twitter. There's an individual on Twitter by the name of Sombrella who does incredible edits to the RWBY characters and their outfits and crossovers with other series. And I had to feature this. This was so well done, but they actually did a Nora iteration of this opening cinematic moment with Nora and like her past. And this is so, I saw this and I was like, I want one for every member of Team Juniper now. It looks so like authentic. It looks like it's actually like official. Like it could literally be in the intro with the rest of these, you know what I mean? Like it's so good, man. I love all of their edits that they do, but this one I was like, I needed to feature this. Again, their username's at the bottom right, at Sombrella on Twitter. If you guys aren't following them, definitely give them a follow. From video game crossovers with RWBY to other anime crossovers with outfits and stuff like that. I just really like it. Their edits are super, like if I didn't know any better, I thought this was official when I first saw it. Overall, I really like this scene. I just think it's a cool like homage and look back on the series overall. These are all the characters in their recent times, you know, with volume 8, but they all started in very different places, right? RWBY was very socially awkward and had a hard time making friends. Weiss was very, for lack of a better term, Weiss was very difficult with people and was stuck in the mindset of an Elysian, and it makes so much sense now that we've been to Atlas why she had that mindset. Blake was warped by her ideals of wanting peace and equality and getting lost in that with the White Fang and Adam, and Yang was so carefree. By the way, she's got 2 arms in that in that little edit there, by the way, just saying. But like even her, you know, she's gone through her own struggles, especially like with her mom and obviously her arm and everything that's happened with her. And even now, like there's seems to be kind of like a little bit of disputes going on with her and her sister, but I feel like they'll still make it through together. I just love this moment. I think this is my favorite part of the opening. Just seeing these 4, it just takes me on a wild ride of like, holy shit, this series has been going on for so long and we still have so much more to get through with it. And I absolutely loved it. This is beautiful. So now we actually shift to Ironwood. At first we see him with the city like not destroyed, and now it's like all up in flames, and he's just kind of being overshadowed by like the wind that's blowing. And then if you actually see carefully, that hand that drops Clover's pin, that's actually Clover's hand, wearing the same glove too. It's like he's leaving behind all of the friends, you know, all of his teammates. Crow clearly is a big part of that, someone that he considered a friend. Ironwood is literally bearing the weight of Atlas on his shoulders, because in this image, Atlas is literally on his shoulder. I don't know if that's intentional. Also, the same city you're bearing on your shoulders is slowly burning, and you're slowly becoming more darker and like shady, like the shades like cover him too, and he just becomes more and more dubious looking as that image plays out. But again, he's bearing the weight of Atlas on his shoulders, like the legend itself. For better or worse, clearly he's going through a lot of shit, and things are gonna get way worse before they get way better for him, and unfortunately. These images were really great too. I fucking hope Salem transforms. That like hyped me up so much. It's like, if she can give the Berengal wings, if she can make this giant whale fortress in the sky, if she can turn the little Seargrim into 5G towers, I better see Salem with some sexy ass evil wings and actually flying around and fighting and cutting and slashing through people like some crazy grim queen. That's such a sick shot, dude. I really like that. Of course, Crow and Robin locked up in prison. I assume based on her helping him up, she's gonna keep him from being in that dark, depressive state after Clover dies, realizing no matter what, he's always going to be alone. He's always going to be bad luck. He's always going to bring misfortune to people around him, even people that have good luck and are usually supposed to be used to counteract that. I just feel like he's going to be very self-loathing and very guilty of what happened to Clover. Also, another thing to consider, when she grabs his hand, she grabs his hand the same way that she grabs Blake's hand when she asks Blake, what's Ironwood hiding at the old, you know, in the tundra? Like when she was using her semblance to get the truth out of Blake. So again, could be a reference that Robin is the key to Crow's innocence and to hopefully getting through to the general. Simultaneously, in the same shot, we see a transition of Oscar most likely having a mental struggle with Salem. I don't know if the imagery is indicating like he's being tortured and he's in her, like obviously he's gonna get kidnapped and she's just gonna try to find ways to get him to talk. And she's got someone like Emerald who can manipulate his mind, and I don't know if Oscar can use Ozpin as like a stand-in for that. So it's like, I'm gonna torture this kid's mind, and instead Oz will be like, I'll take the brunt of that so they don't get the secrets or the answers out of you. I just think like, and then you see all the Grim coming in, so Salem has ways to make you talk. And if you look in the background too, there's like hooks on the ceilings and stuff like that. I really hope we don't see Oscar getting tortured. Fuck the Oscar Protection Squad. We need like the Ozpin United Nations. I really don't know what this is implying, but clearly it just shows that he's gonna be under some incredible mental anguish if Salem actually gets a hold of him and tries to get answers out of him. There's only so much he can do. He's still a kid, you know? I wonder how badly all of Oz's incarnations have had to go through stuff like this, you know? It's crazy because we're seeing it from Oscar's perspective, but this is probably what's eventually going to harden Oscar to fully take on the persona of, of Ozma over the years. I think there are bad times ahead for Oscar. I really hope Salem transforms. She looks so fucking badass in that shot. Again, I think it's more of like an imagery kind of thing. It could potentially just be that, like, that's the image that Emerald is portraying onto him with her semblance. Similar to how we saw, like, the spaghetti fingers Salem in Volume 5 from Emerald as well. So this might be like an oldie for some of you guys who remember it. White Rose, Bumblebee, not the ships really. I just consider that when talking about Ruby, Weiss, and Blake and Yang respectively. You know what this reminds me of? This shot in particular reminds me of the Jody Steele set for like the Ruby prints and the Ruby shirts that came out a few years ago. I think around Volume 4. It was literally art of their weapons. I think it's really like Blake's Gamble Shroud, how it like swings around, and that reminds me of the Jody Steele set. Where's the Volume 8 poster? I mean, it's right there with the Volume 7, but I just think Rooster Teeth is done with posters. honestly. I don't want to say like Rooster Teeth is no longer like a grassroots community. I feel like posters are some of the more bare forms of merchandise for your fandom, but I feel like as a show grows and gets bigger and bigger, posters become, I guess, maybe less profitable, or less people end up buying them as the years go on. And I never got an answer for that. I wanted to ask that question at RTX, and I asked it during like the online one, but obviously there's only so many people that are going to get their questions approved. I don't have like an actual answer for that, but I just think like, I really think it just comes down to business. I really feel like something bad is going to happen to either Ren or Nora this volume. I think Jean is the most headstrong and confident that I've ever seen him. He's managed to let go of the grief and the pain, the want for revenge of what happened to Pyrrha, I think especially because of volume 6 of talking to the red-haired woman and, you know, coming to terms with that ultimately. But yeah, Ren and Nora, they're at odds with each other right now. I feel like it just goes a lot more just because they don't communicate that well, and a relationship's all about communication. If you don't talk about your feelings, if you don't talk about what's on your mind, you're always just going to be wondering what the other person is thinking and distancing yourself as a result. Leading up to the kiss in volume 7, a lot of things were going on between them two. After the kiss, I feel like things have only gotten worse between the two of them. Tensions are high, everyone is stressed out, no one knows what's gonna happen. They're on opposite teams. It's like one side is surprised that the other side isn't with them on this. With both of them being on separate sides, there's no way for them to protect each other if something happens to one of them and the other one's not there. Another thing that this also reminds me of is volume 4, when Ren and Nora split up from RWBY and Jean when they went to Kuroyuri. He said, keep each other safe, and Nora says, we always have. Well, this is the first time since then. This is the first time in a long time that Ren and Nora have not been together. I kind of want to say this is the first time they've never been together. Another thing too is just like Nora's expression when she turns around, the snow like takes over. So I don't know if something's gonna happen in the tundra. I don't know if her turning around is like something is gonna happen to Ren and that's making her worried. Jean's in the middle of Ren and Nora on the top left screen, you know, unified, like, yo, I'm ready, let's do this shit. Meanwhile, the other two are just like so at odds. The Schnee family. So again, I really like Winter's new outfit, like Winter's new getup. It's not really a new outfit, it's just that arm guard and that hair change. I feel like she just went through like a massive like character development arc. She just looks super cool. And again, I think the cross between her and her sister is reflective of the conversation they had last volume of carving your own path and not necessarily going down a path that's chosen for you. And I think while Weiss is keeping her head held high and staring straight for her objective, Winter's looking down and second guessing a lot of the things that she's been groomed to follow, which is like the military, Ironwood's leadership, becoming the Winter Maiden, and now she has to see the person that she's looked up to and has followed for so long slowly become a monster. The entirety of the family Schnee line is here with the exception of the clip-on. We got Willow and Whitley. I think Willow is now going to start realizing, okay, I need to kind of turn things around. She might actually have to defend her manor. Willow can also summon. Willow might actually pop off, you know what I mean? Klein could come back too because Jacques went to prison. Yo, rehire this man, get Klein back. I better see Klein in this volume. He's not in the opening, which means he can be a very shocking return, like a shocking like hype moment, like holy shit, Klein is back. I'm just really excited to see the dynamic of the Schnee family. I don't think it's gonna be anything like super massive like the last volume. Obviously Jacques is still in prison, so we're gonna see snippets of him at least, because I know that, you know, we saw that in the trailer. Willow's gonna have a lot of, you know, stepping up to do as a mother, and if it comes down to Grimm being on her manor, she's gonna have to defend it along with hopefully the butlers. I really hope Klein comes back, especially since again Jacques was fired, or Jacques under arrest. So bring this man back into the family, rehire him, give this man a raise. I think this is a good starting point at least to reestablish a relationship between mother and son. I don't know about the sisters, but you know, clearly things are all over the place, and if anything happens to the family, it's going to be unfortunate if they leave things off where they are. Another thing too to consider is that we actually see the Schnee glyph representing the family, representing the honor and all that stuff of the family shattering. Everything is getting destroyed by Salem. So the Schnees, y'all don't mean shit to me in Atlas in volume 8. I don't know who that is. I really wish I had the patience to actually see where these pieces are on the chessboard, where Salem's pieces are, where Ironwood's pieces are, see the board, and see the potential outplays. Because that was something that somebody did in volume 7 with the chessboard that was on Jacques' desk when Watts you know, introduced himself or showed up. I wonder if that is checkmate, right? Because is Ironwood the king and Salem is the queen? So like she's facing off against him directly. No, she has him in check. I don't know if it's checkmate. I don't know how, like, again, I don't know where all the other pieces are right now. This chess match is already over. All of his pieces get demolished. All of her pieces are moving in before. The last chapter of this volume is called Check and Mate. I think that's a nice name for a chapter. But if you notice, where's Winter? Where's Penny? Where's Ciel Soleil? Been waiting to see her since volume 3, Rooster Teeth. I'm still waiting. Where's anybody that we all know where Councilman Sleet is, but it's interesting that all of the black pawns and pieces are representative of the Grimm. We're not seeing like Cinder or anybody else like that, but Ironwood only has these basic pieces, indicating, to me at least, that no one is going to be on his side by the time this is over. That's just the name of the game. Salem has always been one step ahead, and even when she wasn't one step ahead, she at least got into your head to make you think that. So at the end of the day, that kind of works in her favor still. And that's a big part about chess in general. Mind games. You're always trying to, I just think strategically, Salem just knows her opponent inside and out, whereas Ironwood isn't willing to trust anyone or apply partnering with somebody to the point where, yeah, he's going to be the only one on the board and he's going to be in checkmate by the end of the volume. Oh, Galinda. I miss Galinda. I wish she came back. I feel like she could just slap some sense into him. Does anyone else ship them two? I feel like they have a thing. They had a thing going on in volume 3. That one scene where they both came out of the elevator and they were like fixing themselves. I wouldn't be surprised if they were just getting it on like on the way up. If Galinda came through and was like, get a hold of yourself, Ironwood. What the fuck is wrong with you? I'm gone for a year and this is how you're acting. I feel like either Galinda or Winter can get through to this man. And since we haven't seen Galinda in like 4 volumes, and I don't think we're gonna ever see her until we go back to Vale, which is unfortunate, I feel bad for her if once she finds out what happened to Ironwood. That'd be such a pop-off moment, dude. Galinda Goodwitch showing back up, versing Cinder again, and that's how their first encounter was. It was like Partial Maiden and Galinda Goodwitch facing off against each other in the first episode. Imagine she comes back in volume 8 and she actually fights off against the full Maiden. That'd be sick, dude. Okay, I'm gonna stop now because like I'm thinking of shit that's clearly not gonna happen this volume. God, that'd be awesome. It is interesting though, now that I think about that, because I just mentioned like Galinda went toe-to-toe with who is a partial fall maiden, and Galinda still had like telekinesis and shit, but she went toe-to-toe with a maiden. There is a theory, right, that she is somehow tied to either a maiden herself or the relic of choice, because she has the crown symbol on her back, like on her cape, and the relic of choice is a crown. She could be the spirit of the relic of choice. That'd be fucking nuts, dude. What? I don't know. I think we're getting into some crazy theory crafting here. I just think it's worth keeping a note on that, right? The crown and Galinda might be more connected than we know, but that's just a theory. A RWBY theory. Thanks for watching. Just kidding. Meanwhile, I feel like both of them are vying for hacking options for Penny, because there are some big hacking vibes from her in the intro. Watts is clearly getting out of prison. I'm pretty sure I don't think anyone's surprised by that. Pietro's doing as much as he can to help Team RWBY get to the military compound, you know, giving him information, having Penny go with them, even though he didn't want her to. And obviously he's going to be doing his part to try to help the best way he can technologically. Meanwhile, Watts coded all of that shit. Clearly going to be able to go back and get his revenge. And it's kind of messed up when you think about it too, because he's mad that Pietro's Penny project got approved over his, but it seems like they still ended up using Watts's Elysian Paladins, which those were created by him. So most likely long after he died, they like disgraced him. They were like, yo, by the way, we're yoinking your project and we're gonna make it our own. Thanks, by the way. No credit, by the way. I wonder if Watts still has more to show, like more gadgets, more gizmos, more technology, maybe his own personalized Elysian Paladin. That'd be so fucking sick if we get like a mecha fight between him and Penny, like his mecha versus her. I don't know. I just think shit like that would be super cool to just see, because I feel like there's still so much more that Watts can do. And he was such a joy. He was such a treat to watch, between hacking and just being super inconspicuous with everything that he was doing. I really, really liked it. We got Penny here, and it shows like obviously she's being conflicted, you know, cracked mirror. I'll be honest with you guys. I feel like Penny is going to do something that she shouldn't do, but she's guilted into doing based on everything that's happening. She even says, oh, what if I just go and bring the relic to Salem? And, you know, maybe then she'll call off her attack. And then again, when Ironwood calls and he guilt trips Ruby and he says, if she gets past our forces, everything that happens after is on you. I honestly feel like based on that amount of guilt and that amount of pressure, I feel like Penny would be like, okay, I gotta do this. Like, I'm sorry, I have to do this. Like, this is her way of trying to see if what she's doing is right. You know, because everybody is trying to figure out their own way of contributing and their own way of feeling like what I'm doing is right. So I feel like Penny might do something drastic. In more terrifying news, remember that maple leaf that blows in the wind during volume 6 where Jean is sitting outside of the Argus Memorial where Pyrrha's statue is? Very strong vibes that I see a lotus petal, which represents who has a lotus symbol in this show? Oh yeah, Ren. And who has a lotus petal flying away, and who can't catch that lotus flower? Nora. Yeah, I think Ren might be on the chopping block this volume. Really sucks because like him and Nora are already on bad terms. Not bad terms, but difficult terms. If Ren dies this volume, I'm convinced that the Juniper death theory is gonna come true. There's just, I can't see it any other way. I don't mean to scare you guys either. I just really think that a lot of this stuff is deliberate. Penny getting hacked, Ren and Nora being at odds, the lotus flower symbolism, similar to Pyrrha becoming the fall maiden and the fall leaf, and Ren and Nora are not together for the first time in ever, I think. Since they've met each other, I think they've always been together. And it's just a matter of like if something happens to one of them and the other one's not there to help out, or if everyone's scattered, or if everyone gets bodied, you know. Where's Yang? Where's Oscar? You know, if Oscar is getting kidnapped and everyone else has to go and get him, so that's only 3 people. And then if you're going to Salem's place to get him, that's just a red flag. That could be 1,000,001 different scenarios. Killed by the Grimm, killed by Salem, killed by Tyrion, Hazel, who knows? And again, I need to stress, the finale is going to be on February 13th, which is the 4-year anniversary of Volume 3's finale in 2016, where Pyrrha died. We have the tension for them too, and you know, from last volume to this one, I don't know. I don't know. So first off, I really love the color contrast of this shot. The deep red for Salem, the blue skies, the deep blue and purple gravity crystals for AMIDI Coliseum. Overall, this shot is just really great. What I don't like is that Penny flies into the air and turns against Team RWBY and Juniper. It's like, why is she facing them? Unless she gets hacked and has to fight them. Penny is flying up in the air and turning and looking at Team RWBY and company, and your back is against the fucking Grimm. Also, yeah, that's a giant freaking that's a big Ursa. Russell Thrush, my boy. That's a volume 1 reference right there for anyone who remembers that. Back there, it's got Carden. Oh my god, I love volume 1 so much, man. Another thing that I like about this shot is that like both teams are like split. Like you have Team Yang's group, they're angled towards looking at the Grimm because their objective is to protect Mantle. Team RWBY, like RWBY's team, their goal is Salem and by proxy AMIDI Coliseum. So I at least like that they positioned everyone properly based on their objectives. But you got Atlas, you got Mantle, you got the Coliseum, you got Salem. You got 4 objectives, and you got 9 people that got to deal with this. But yeah, this scene, really great. A lot of things are going to be going on. A lot of objectives need to be hit. Super sus that Penny decides to fly off into the middle. Again, that might be against her will. Why would you turn your back on the enemy unless they're no longer the enemy? Some roses. Yeah, I can't do it. I can't do it. All right, Casey, you win. Damn it. It's the one song that I feel absolutely defeated in attempting to sing. A lot of things to break down in this. I do like the slow pan shot of Cinder walking and you just see like everyone just frozen in time. And that's very interesting because one of the only times that we ever see that is when Jin is being summoned. So it's very possible that Cinder might get the last question. Cinder might summon Jin somehow. I don't know how she figures it out. I don't know if she's eavesdropping. I don't know if she seizes her opportunity and is like, fuck it, I'm gonna ask the question behind Salem's back. Neo and Emerald aren't frozen, so they might be present with Cinder when she asks the question, if that is the case. But then we immediately see what looks to be Cinder catching, you know, burning on fire. I don't know if it's the Grim arm. I don't know if it's the influence of that Grim bug or the Grim in general that's trying to like take over and stuff like that. Or if she just screws up to the point where Salem is like, all right, you're done. Just snaps her finger and just sets her on fire. Remember the song Divide, you know, I'll watch you burn? She wasn't talking about Ozpin, she was talking about Cinder, because Cinder's actually burning up right now. I just wonder what this means for Cinder. I do think it could potentially be the Grim taking over if she starts losing control or whatever the case might be. Or maybe if she ends up getting the Winter Maiden powers, if that's like influencing her to where she can't control all that power. A lot of people didn't think you could harness more than one Maiden power, but then when she tried to go for Raven in volume 5, it was kind of implied like, okay, if she's trying to get this power, that means she can have, that more than one person can have it. It might just be her because it might be the Grim that siphons the power, but I think under normal circumstances, I don't think more than one person can have the power themselves. Does anyone even know that Raven is the Spring Maiden? Here's the immediate assumption. They have to assume that either Raven or Cinder is the Spring Maiden. Why? Because Yang said that when she went down there, the relic was gone and Vernal was dead. So if Vernal was dead and she was supposed to, and everyone else thought that she was the Spring Maiden, but she died, everyone would have to assume that Raven now is the Spring Maiden because the person that's in their thoughts last gets the power. So why would Cinder get the power if Raven is there too? You know what I mean? So even if Yang didn't say it explicitly, they have to at least assume that Raven is the Spring Maiden. Otherwise, they're gonna assume Cinder is. And if Cinder's not showing the power, then clearly she doesn't have it. It doesn't matter if they know that she's the maiden in the sense of the relic, because the relic's out of the vault, but that's still a huge advantage to have a maiden on your side, like in terms of like power, just raw power. So this shot here, these two shots are very interesting, and I think I'm interpreting it very differently than most people. So first things first, the two relics have two different shades of blue. The Relic of Knowledge is a lighter shade than the Staff of Creation. The Staff of Creation is actually like a darker blue, which tells me that there are two different spirits in this relic, both created by the God of Light. I don't know if that means that the Sword of Destruction and the Crown were created by the God of Darkness. I don't know if it's like a 50-50 split, because the God of Light presented Ozma with the 4 relics in that flashback. It does seem like there are two different beings. You see the cloud of smoke, similar to like the cloud of smoke that was in the opening of volume 6, which was the smoke of Jin telling the story. So the fact that there is dark smoke leads me to believe that there might be another being in the relic. Maybe it's a reference to Atlas, you know, the god that held the world on his shoulders, just like how Jin is a genie in the lamp. I'm just going with the Atlas thing because, again, Atlas is being held in the sky. That's the current objective of the staff. The thing is, though, the two relics look to be combining their powers, like DNA digivolve, like the two smokes like intertwine, and then the bottom image happens where Ruby opens her eyes and then a destroyed Atlas becomes a fine Atlas. So I wonder if combining the relic's powers produces like a certain result. Okay, I'm just gonna tell you guys what I'm thinking here. I wonder if by using the staff and the lamp, they could be like, okay, we want Atlas to be fine, but they have to pay a price for it. And it seems like they just rewrote Atlas. Like it was red and then like glitches and then it's rewritten and it's fine, because immediately after that, Team RWBY falls into the hole, and that is the price. It's like, okay, we can do this, but there's a price to pay to do that. I don't know. That's just how I'm looking at it. It just seems like Atlas is being fixed here, but then because of that, Team RWBY falls into the abyss. Like, what's this glitching effect right here? The glitching effect is what's really bothering me, because it's all destroyed and then it's fixed. And again, these two relics they look like they're combining. Why are they combining? And then why does this happen? I just feel like something's going on, and I don't know what it is. It's just that glitch effect that the things change back. That's what's really bothering me. I don't know about time travel. That'd be kind of insane. The staff of creation. What is creation? What are you gonna create? Are you gonna create a new timeline where Atlas actually doesn't get destroyed, but it's a timeline where Team RWBY doesn't exist and they just disappear into the nothingness? I don't know how the lamp is really gonna help much, because you just ask a question. It's like you just get a question and then that's it. That's my interpretation of that. From my perspective, the relics are harnessed and somehow, some way, Atlas gets fixed, but because it gets fixed, Team RWBY has a price to pay. You know what this is? This is probably the equivalent of everybody who looked at that picture in the bar and was like, oh my God, that's like super secret backstory for Cinder or Robin or whatever, when it was just a picture of the owners of the bar. Now I'm like five-heading it right now. And now I'm just kind of taking it to the next level. This was so, like, this part right here and the lyrics that go with it too is so good, dude. Like, they all just fall. And I've heard theories that people are saying that this kind of reminds people of like the Fountain of Life, but the Fountain of Life, that's in Mistral, because they did say that the God of Darkness, his realm was on the Dragon Continent, and the God of Light's realm was in Mistral. That's why like the continents look like dragons, because one is the dark dragon and one's the light dragon. It looks exactly like the Pool of Life, but it's just like the setting is wrong. Like the Pool of Life isn't an Atlas, so I'm just like, I don't know if I'm on board with that. Also, if it's the Pool of Life, that's cool and all, but like, are you really gonna give these four girls immortality? Another thing that's interesting is this bottom shot here. RWBY is trying to reach out to the relic of creation, and the Grimm are also reaching for the relic of creation. Why are the Grimm reaching for the relic of creation? Are they gonna, like, I wonder if Salem can create new Grimm with the staff of creation. You know how she was saying in volume 6 to Ozma, she was like, what's the point of redeeming these humans when we can replace them with what they could never be? You know, and I think she just meant like we can replace them with other magic users if we repopulate the world with just magic users. Imagine she like creates like new Grimm. Like all of these hands kind of look like the apathy. I just think it's a representation of the Grimm. I don't think the apathy themselves are coming back. I really want humanoid Grimm. I really want human Grimm. Not human Grimm, but like Grimm that look and act and react like humans. I've wanted that since like volume 2. Imagine Salem just creates like a new Grimm hybrid, and that's why the Grimm are going up. They're like, yo, we're about to ascend, boys, let's do this. Also, RWBY, you failed, let's drag you down into the darkness. I really hope that that's the case. Also, again, them falling, not a good indicator for things to happen. And then of course, I think this is the new Grimm, the Bloodhound one that they were gonna sick on Oscar, I think. But yeah, this last shot here, if this doesn't tell you that we ain't winning shit, the villains are winning, the heroes are losing, I don't know what else to tell you. Happy ever after? More like happy never again. Yeah, that's a normal Penny turning red and her eyes turning red. And red is the symbol of hacking, the same way that the Elysian forces got hacked in volume 3, aka Watts is gonna hack Penny and turn her against everybody. Black Queen Virus 2.0, ladies and gentlemen. This is why Penny was brought back, so they can twist the knife and salt the wound even more when they have to dismantle her, and I'm not a fan. And I mean this from an emotional standpoint. I don't mean it like, oh, I hate this decision, why are they doing? I mean like, that really hurt when Penny died. I loved Penny. Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3. And then they brought her back, and I've loved her even harder, even more than I ever thought with Volumes 1 and 2 and 3. And I just don't know what I'm gonna be like after this volume. I'm kind of nervous, not gonna lie. Another thing too to consider, Team RWBY fell into that hole, and the only thing that dropped were their weapons, not them. So like, what the fuck happened to Team RWBY? Did they really get wiped off of the face of existence? Did they rewrite the future and just like, we don't exist anymore? And yeah, Crescent Rose is solo dolo. So I don't know if everyone's gonna get separated. I don't know what the fuck is gonna happen. I think without a doubt, Atlas is gonna fall onto Mantle, like an extinction level event. Like this giant mass is just gonna collapse onto Remnant and thousands of people are just gonna be dead. So those are all the good vibes that this intro gave me. Last but certainly not least, shout out to the concept art as always. I really like these. I love how it's incredible how they convert from concept to animation. It's super cool. Salem's domain, the slum, the bar, the medical room where Winter was. Shout out to concept. Always love it. But yeah, that's everything. Not a lot of good vibes, ladies and gentlemen. However, I do appreciate you guys tuning in and hanging out for this part 2. Curses to my internet, curses to Comcast, but we made it through. Another 2.5 hours, which means in total, my live stream discussion was probably going to be about 5 hours long. Thank God I'm doing a condensed version. The condensed version might actually be a little over an hour. I'm obviously going to make 2 separate videos, one for the first chapter and one for the intro. In this episode, this version was primarily talking about the intro, so I think for the most part we'll be good. Those videos will also most likely be out by the time, like on Monday, Tuesday, I think is when I'll post those. So they'll follow my reactions to the corresponding episode. Obviously, first members will be focusing on the second chapter. You know, that's out a week early, but for non-first members, they'll be able to watch my reaction and then get my thoughts on the review. I really appreciate you guys tuning in and hanging out with me for this discussion. I really hope the condensed version is well thought out and well put together and well structured for people who want to hear my thoughts and you know, not spend 5 hours getting to it in a live stream format. But yeah, that's everything, guys. Thank you all so very much. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for the support. I hope you guys look forward to the reactions and the discussions and the highlights that are going to be coming out over the next couple of months. Ship posts as well when they are appropriate, and everything else in between. But yeah, that's going to do it for me. I will see you guys next Thursday for the live stream discussion of chapter 2. And yeah, I think that's everything. Thank you guys all so much. Enjoy the rest of your night. Have a good weekend. Stay safe, and I will talk to you guys later. Take care.